Control-Alt-Redeem is for anyone called to ministry in the digital frontier, gamers, streamers, and everyday believers navigating life online. Each episode equips you to live on mission and the real stories of lives being changed. Reset your expectations, reframe your mission, and redeem the space you're already in. This is where digital ministry gets practical, creative, grounded, and hopeful. One episode at a time.
Welcome in, everyone, to Control-Alt-Redeem. We are resetting the culture and redeeming the space. And today, I get the fun privilege of having Papstio on. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you've been here live, you know there was a conversation with Papstio. If you weren't here live, whatever happened to the VODs, we don't know. It never got published. It never went to YouTube. It didn't get saved on Twitch. So if you were here, you know what happened. If you're not, this is the first time for some of you that you're going to meet Papstio, but you actually are the first official second-time guest, although there's no evidence of a first time. So welcome in.
Yes. We're going to flashy thingy, everybody.
Yeah. We're going to.
You don't remember.
You did not remember. This is not the podcast you're looking for. This is not. Hey, Mel, welcome in. Lucis, good to see you. First, the worst. Second, the best. So this is going to be a good one. Yeah, a do-over. It's a mulligan. It's the Mulligan podcast.
It's the Mulligan.
Yes. You know I love playing with words and having fun with all of that stuff. And I was trying to think about this. I meant to do it in your stream. I forgot to do it. I was going to do followage and see how long I've been following you, but you've been following me longer than I've been following you. And I've got to say, I know it's at least 3 years, but I'm trying to think how early on in my streaming that you came along. And one of the reasons that you were so prominent, I think, in my mind to begin with, is you always had the Mutley emote in the chat. It's like, the Mutley went on and like, I'm having a good day. Mutley is here. I mean, you're not Mutley, but the emotes in the chat. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be fun today.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten rid of that emote, even though I used the other one that I made more. It's basically Twitch's dog that's laughing, and then I animated it to make it look like it's giggling.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the Mutley. I'm old. I like old things. I like things that are older than me that I remember as a kid, but my parents would look at me and go, that's old. And it was like, but it's new to me. And it's so fun when those things become new to another generation when they were old before you even got to enjoy them. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, like this wasn't on your calendar. Mel, how was this not on your calendar? I must have messed something up. I'm sorry about that. It was on mine. Maybe I didn't tag you on that. So those that don't know, Mel is with theChurch.digital. She helps our calendar get all taken care of and published and all of that. So whenever I post a podcast, I share it on Google with her, and then she makes sure it's shared with everyone else of what's going on. So you saw me mention it this morning, so you added it. I must have messed something up there. That'd be the first time ever. I guess I am human. I finally made a mistake. after we're talking about not having a podcast. So obviously I've got other problems and so yeah, we're not just diving right into it. We're just having a little fun here to begin with. It was interesting because I also messed up what time we were starting, and I published it to be at 7, and you were like, no, I said 6, and then I was like, well, we've been advertising it, so we'll just stick with 7. So this is going to be great, I believe. It's just going to be a fantastic time. Yeah.
To exercise, so,
Yeah, so you're out of breath.
The dancing in.
Yeah, you're out of breath, ready to sit down and talk. All right, for those that do not know you, we're going to dive into some of that as we go along. So I like to start with I think it's an easy question, but it's sometimes a complicated answer. And that is, how did you get onto Twitch? Did you come on because you were watching other people? Did you hear about it being a place where you could go live, and so you jumped into doing that? And then along the way, did you start out as having faith forward, talking about your faith, or did that develop as it happened with you being in the space? So if you just want to tell us your journey into Twitch and then being a Twitch streamer.
Okay. So back when COVID hit, like most people, the game that I was playing had a Twitch channel that one of my friends had said, oh, if you go watch this channel, then you get drops, in-game stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. So that was my first introduction to Twitch. Warframe then raided a channel that at the time was called The Angry Unicorn. It was a couple's stream. They played Warframe. They were Warframe creators at the time. And they were hilarious. Doc and Lala is what they went by online. And, that kind of got me into my first actual community. I started following a lot of people who were in their channel, and they were all Warframe players at the time. And so I got very heavily into the Warframe community, enter the end of 2020. And my wife started having complications, and she had a collapsed lung that she had to go to the hospital for. And that started several hospital visits in a row. So at the time, I, was letting my community know. I'm like, well, I might not be around. I might have to leave suddenly. Because I was there, like, in the community,
Right.
almost all the time. So, it was they were actually very nice about it. I made a lot of good friends in that community who were checking up on me offline, but none of them were outwardly Christian at the time. There was no real faith talk, and it was just a group of people who all played the same game a lot, and like to hang out, play games together. And at a point, somebody was like, "Oh, you should start streaming Warframe. Everybody knows you, and you would be affiliate like right away." And so I ended up doing that. I started a no cam, no mic stream, and all I did was play Warframe, type in chat. I had already had the 50 followers required at the time.
So how do you manage that game? Because I don't know enough about it. How do you manage that game? Typing in chat while you're doing it? Is it you play, then you have to stop and type in chat, or is it you can do both simultaneously?
For the most part, you can do both, but it is mouse and keyboard, so both your hands are taken up.
Yeah.
But also there's an in-game chat, so a lot of people who would come to the stream would actually just want to play with me.
Right.
And so they're not really typing in chat either. And so it just became, people coming in, watching me play, they might have questions. I could answer the questions in chat.
I love this, and
that was about it.
I want to dissect that a little bit further. I don't think I've done this so much with other people on the podcast so far, but you're playing a game that has a built-in aspect of community to it. So in the game itself has a chat feature, and the people want to be in community. So you developed a community. It wasn't necessarily a Christian community, but the gaming sphere and the game itself was engineered around community as an important aspect of the game, which really is the catalyst for you being invited by them or encouraged by them to say, you're already in the community. We will all watch you. We play together so you can go live. We'll be right there doing all of this. You'll be able to do this I love that aspect of things. And I point that out because there might be someone who's listening to this who does not fully grasp and understand that online community is real community. They have this blinder on that says if we're not in person, it's not real community, it's not real relationship. And yet it was the community walking alongside of you, not in a Christian way, but walking alongside of you with your wife's, troubles. Maybe not meeting all the spiritual needs, but at least being a listening ear, being there with you. And then afterwards going, you're part of us. We want to embrace you. Come and do this alongside of us.
Yeah. And that's just it, right? Community is community no matter where you are.
Yeah.
It's not, you have to be in the same physical location. It's people caring about people.
Absolutely. And you can take any kind of community that the church may not necessarily be able to permeate. The mob community, we're not really permeating that necessarily so much, but they care for one another in their way within that community. And so your community of the game was doing that and encouraging you and moving forward. So yeah, I just wanted to pause on that for a minute because I really thought that was an opportunity to touch on something that I haven't focused on in other streams. So now that you've gone live and you're engaging, you're just in the chat, you're just typing, no camera, no microphone. What's the next step in your evolution as a streamer? Do you just maintain the game and progress with adding features to your stream, or what's the next shift for you?
So as I got into streaming, I noticed that there were a lot of things that my skill set is computers. And streaming, I mean, it's technology, right? You need to know how to manipulate a computer. And a lot of streamers were having issues. And I'm like, well, I have all the stuff set up. I can test it out for you and see if I can solve your issue, right? And that kind of became more of my focus. I stopped streaming the game and I started playing around with OBS, with Stream Elements and SonglessBot and all these tools that I saw streamers using and going, I want to learn this. I want to start helping people out, using my skill to help the community. And so that's what I did. And actually my streams became further and further apart until I decided, well, I do have all the setup and, I'm down in my basement playing DDR and Rock Band for exercise pretty much all the time. I might as well flip on the camera and, just broadcast it. Who cares if anybody shows up? I'm just doing it to test the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't really have a great streaming computer to start. It was an old laptop that I had, and then I had started building a different computer from older components that I had from my previous computer into a server case.
Okay. Yep, I know how that goes. Yeah.
And so I had a lot of issues. I've dealt with all the issues.
Yeah, and I think early on when I got started too, you were often at trying to help me troubleshoot things as they were happening live, and you've offered many times to help. And I've recently had some sound issues, and you helped me figure out a couple of things to point me in the right direction. We haven't sat down and tried to work them all out, but it's really helpful to have a voice that can just tell you it's going to be okay. Let me guide you in some ways. Have you tried this to do some troubleshooting? I find that really encouraging. So I don't feel like, yeah, I'm the person who's less techie, self-taught, and I can't figure something out. What do I do next?
Right.
How
And
did
then
how quickly did that shift and change pan out for you? Was it like, hey, I'm just going to go play this new game? And did your community show up from the game you were playing, or did they just never migrate over?
so a couple people showed up, and they were also like, oh yeah, I remember this game, from years ago I used to play. And they're like, actually, you're really good at it. um but it wasn't their thing. Of course, the Warframe community is in Warframe.
Yes.
That's pretty much all they do. um it's kind of like the WoW community.
Yep.
You play this game and this is it. um and I didn't really have a lot of viewers to begin with anyway. um but during the transition, one of the things that happened was, now I'm online in these communities, plus I am streaming, forming my own community, which means my IRL time started to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife, of course, noticed right away that I wasn't around. And with her health issues, she needed a lot more help. And so I kind of left, for the most part, the Warframe community. A lot of the streamers that I had followed originally had also taken breaks due to family or health issues or different things. And they weren't streaming as much. And I'm like, well, what else is out there? I'm in the Warframe community and the music community. I used a lot of the music channels to play in the background while I worked.
Right.
And there are a lot of Twitch artists out there. There are so many. And so I was in a lot of those communities, and I think the first Christian stream I stumbled upon was actually Ukulele's, and she rated you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, there are people reading the Bible on stream.
There's a few of us that were weirdos doing that kind of a thing. Yeah. I think
I could get into.
Yeah, I think actually we were both in Ukulele's channel before I started live. So I think I saw you in Ukulele's stream and channel before I started, and then when I started, she had said, if you go live and you're live when I get done, I will raid you. So like I had a raid on my first stream. Most people don't. It was kind of like, yay, bring a whole, and the same with you. It was like a whole bunch of people had told me, when you start streaming, let me know. I will come watch you. And it was like, great. I appreciate that. It's wonderful to have that encouragement. In fact, I kept telling people, there's no way I'm going to stream. What am I going to stream? I'm no good at playing games. Nobody's going to watch me. Why would I ever stream? And I just kept getting encouragement from people to do it. And I say this tongue in cheek now. I said, well, I'll show you that I'm not a streamer. I'm going to do the Bible, and I'm going to do sermon prep. Nobody's going to watch that. And they did. And it was like, wow. And I just celebrated 5 years of being an affiliate. And which is amazing to think about that. Wow, I've been doing this for that long, and
right.
It's truly amazing.
Yeah, it's a category that I would have never thought I could even stumble into, right?
Right.
And then you talk a lot about the read and learn the Bible category. It's like, and what was the other, the Holy Bible, or
the Holy Bible? It was, yeah. I think probably 6 months or maybe it was 9 months in, somebody came into my channel and was upset at me for not streaming in the Holy Bible. I went over to that. I didn't know that category existed. I had typed Bible and it didn't show up. So I don't know when that got created. I went over and looked at it, and it was just like if you want a dry person reading with no emotions. And I'm like, this isn't where I belong. Nobody's going to come watch me over here. So I'm just going to stay with just chatting. However, it's been brought up that now it's read and learn the Bible. I'm testing it out. I'm moving to that category. My followers aren't looking for the category. It's new people that perhaps they are looking for the category. So I'm going to test it out and see if it's viable, if I get pushed to the top in any way, because hey, I'm one of the few people that's there. If it works out, great. If not, I'm jumping back over to just chatting, because half of what I do is just chatting anyway.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I did with my channel as well. Is the program that I use to play DDR is called Project Outfox.
Okay.
For a while, I streamed in Project Outfox, the category, but nobody's in that category because barely anyone uses that program.
Right.
And so I switched over to Dance Dance Revolution and found some people to come in.
When I did jump into and I was lurking the whole time you were going, before we got together, I was lurking. I went quickly and looked because I remember. So I don't think, maybe we did talk about this the last time, and I know we're on a side trail, but we do rabbit trails, and you know this, so this is no big deal. When I coached cross country, I did not entirely know what I was doing. I knew how to create community. I mean, I'd never run cross country. I've told my story before. I'm not going to tell it all here. But one of the things I remember my best friend in high school talked about when he ran cross country is we would have a pasta night the night before we would have a meet. So I just had those at my house to start with. And so we would get done with eating the meal and the kids wanted to hang out and wanted to do stuff. It was usually a DDR party at my house. So I went to go look for Apache, and I could not find Apache in your playlist. And then I went to go look for Kiss, I Was Made for Loving You. I couldn't find that one either. It's like, okay, I'm giving up. Like, you don't clearly have the one that I remember all of the songs from. Right. And so you don't have that version in there. So I was going to give you some of those. I really wanted to see those two because those were the ones they were always trying to get it to go to. And it was funny because it would be 4 of them. I think it was on the Wii, and there'd be 4 of them doing it. And what would be funny is I'd be sitting on the couch. It would pick me up as a person in the background. It would be scoring me, and I'm not moving at all. And I'm like, I get a perfect score, and I didn't even move. It was pretty funny that way.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that like Just Dance I didn't get into is I'm like, you can just sit on the couch and move your arms.
Oh, that's what it is. Just Dance, not DDR. Sorry, wrong one. But
yeah,
I think they did both. But yeah. Anyway, it was bringing back memories of that, and it is like. So I had actually mentioned to my wife that you were down here playing DDR, and she's like, "People still play that?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, why wouldn't you? You know, if you're good at it, you would enjoy it. You would keep doing it. So there's
yep.
So anyway, to bring that back, so you start doing something that you enjoy. Do you start developing a new community around that? And when did you decide to, or I should say, did you always have the video then with the DDR? You put yourself up and you were on screen and going and chatting and talk, or
yep.
You did. I think you're the one that showed me this, the chat to text, or sorry. Text to speech, text to speech, yeah. And the TTS there, which I tried on my biking streams, and then I switched platforms and it wouldn't work. So I had it for a minute, and then it didn't turn out to be viable for what I was doing. But I love those kind of things like that are innovative and trying things that not everybody knows about or that is able to see. So how did that go from there? Of I'm doing dancing now. I'm going to be dancing with the stars with Papstio someday. Maybe we're going to see you on the show.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably too old. Although they have a lot of
ex-athletes on there. So, yeah.
Ex-athletes. So, but yeah. So I started just filming, basically streaming my dancing. And I did eventually find a casual DDR community. What was it? Y2 Queen
Okay.
was one of the first people that came into my chat and like followed, subbed right away, started giving bits, and I'm just like, this is weird. Like, who randomly comes into a stream and throws money at them? But it turned out that she also streams DDR, and um, they had a whole community who I fell in with for a while. They kind of disbanded, um, and I kept going. And then as I got around the Christian community, uh, I would get a lot of people from those streams to stop by. Um, and you know, a lot of the time for I don't know how many months it was a quiet chat. I was streaming to, you know, lurkers.
Right.
Um, but it wasn't, you know, I wasn't streaming to make a living. I wasn't streaming to try and get big. I was just streaming because I could. And it was um just not the kind of thing that you would normally hear about. You know, you hear about a lot of these Twitch streamers who are like, I can't get anybody to come in, I can't get anybody to interact, I can't get any money, I can't make this work. And I'm just over here like, yeah, it's a business. If you don't treat it that way, it's not going to work.
Right. Right.
And I don't treat it that way. I treat it as a hobby. And so, you know, all that kind of stuff I didn't have to deal with. Um, but I'm like around all these other communities, and I'm like, well, maybe I should focus and build a community. A lot of my growth actually came after I started modding for Zserium. Because I was in her stream all the time, people started getting to know me. I was in your stream all the time, people started getting to know me. And then I would see people in other streams, and um, I never advertised my own stream. And so even today, I get a lot of, wait, you stream?
Right. Right.
Actually, Forged by Grace just said that the other day.
Well,
And
and there's something for that. So let's just back up, and the plan is for the next month. I'm trying to have mods on here specifically and talk about it. And I think that's true. When I first saw you, you were modding for other people. So there's something about that aspect of you giving into the community and being a presence in the community that is valued, that when people find out that you stream, we want to go and give back because you have invested in us in the community without being the streamer, and
right.
your presence is there. So how, let me just shift that gear for a minute, because we're going to go to mod. Why did you choose to mod? What was it about participating in that aspect of the community that you found valuable to be able to do that?
So I didn't choose to mod.
Okay.
I mean, obviously I made the ultimate decision to mod, but I was actually only in Ashley's stream for 6 weeks, maybe.
Okay.
And she reached out and she said, hey, you know, I noticed you're here all the time. You're very welcoming to the community. Would you like to be a mod? And I'm like, wow, after 6 weeks, that's pretty quick. I barely know anybody. But, you know, I was like, oh, sure. I mean, I love your community. Her Discord was active, and there were a lot of people there that, you know, I got along with. And so I was like, sure, I'll be a mod. At the time, I wasn't So I hadn't been in the Christian community a lot. I was used to the music community and the Warframe community, which have a lot of trolls.
Yes.
And the first time somebody came in and started trolling, I banned them.
Yeah.
And Ashley goes, wait, why did you do that? I can't talk to them now.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what do you mean? They were trolling, right? Like,
Right.
and she explained, she's like, these people come in with questions, they're confused, they're trolling because they want to know more about what we're doing. And if I can start a conversation, maybe I can, figure out what that is that they're looking for. And it just made me think, I'm like, huh, I guess that's true. It's not just there's somebody who's trying to cause mischief. There's a person
Right.
on the other side of those words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they need to hear
right.
and be loved just like everybody else.
Yeah. And even if they are coming to troll and are trying to create mischief or are trying to attack in some ways, we are to overcome evil with good. And the world doesn't do that. The world either responds with evil for evil or ban, we won't tolerate you. No tolerance policy. You stepped out of line and we're going to cancel you and you have to go away. So
right.
It is a different mindset, and not every Christian is able to do that within their space. They may have certain past hurt and triggers that they're trying to protect themselves and will be more fast on the trigger to say, nope, not here. Goodbye. No tolerance. Or they have people in their community that they're more protective of in that way. But yeah, Sarah, you very skilled in being able to have conversations with people. She's been on the podcast before, so if you don't know who she is, go find the episode where she was on. It's a great episode, and I'm not going to share anything of what is going on with her ministry, but stay tuned for the next year to see what she's up to. It's just going to be some really good stuff. Yeah, timing out instead of banning, Forge says, is a great, happy middle ground for what you have found in that regard. Of course, with the warning before, then leading up to the timeout. Yeah, and that's a good point, too, Forge, that you bring up there, is we can dialogue along the way without having the ban hammer being the first thing that happens, is just so you know, that kind of language, just so you know, that kind of behavior, just so you know, those kinds of things, we don't allow those here. Can you go in a different direction with that? Redirecting and being persistent. Having boundaries is still an important thing. Right. And then as a mod, we want our mods to understand where we're coming from. So you are learning from her on how to do that. So what was the next kind of iteration of that for you? Did you find that in other communities where you became mods, or when did you end up modding for other people?
So after a while, so I had actually modded for people before. I still mod for non-Christian communities. But yes, the Christian communities that I was in, I found a lot of them were already like that. They've dealt with this before. Of course, being a Christian means people are going to come in and they're going to talk about stuff, and they're going to ask questions because they're going to be confused about things. And, I always, so my stream is not Christian content.
Right. I was just gonna ask in that direction. So how do you bring your faith into your stream? How do you engage people around? And I love that there is a variety of Christians in the space, because while I have in my name straightforward, pastor, you're going to go, okay, Christian, what's going on? What's this person? But I chose that because I didn't want people to feel like I'm bait and switching you. You know, I'm playing a game over here. Now let me tell you I'm a pastor, and they leave without me even getting a chance to talk to them. So, yep, I know I put a barrier up, but I would rather have that than chase you away and have you feel like I lied to you and was deceptive. So how do you handle it when people come into your stream and you're sharing your faith? What causes you to do that, to share your faith? What are those parameters that you're looking for opportunity-wise? Because, yeah, you are a music. You are, in some ways, an entertainment side of the community.
So, yeah, I was going to get into this a little later in my journey, but basically, I had issues with being a Christian content creator because all I saw was Christian content, right?
Right.
I didn't put content creator in its box.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, there's really no space for me because I'm not going to read the Bible. I'm not going to, watch podcasts and things on Christian content for my stream, but I am a Christian,
Right.
and that's going to come out because I can't stop being Christian just as much as I can't stop being black, right? Like, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
And it does. So in my stream, I started introducing myself as, I'm a Christian husband, father, and rhythm gamer. And I put Christian first on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, people come in. I started getting a lot of people who just wanted to come in and talk. They came in, they're having a bad day, they want to vent. I was okay with that. And I would talk to them. And, by the end of it, I'm like, oh, well, I will be praying for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to let you know that this is how I believe that I can help you in your situation is through my faith. But I have always taken the St. Francis of Assisi approach, where we're going to go preach the gospel and occasionally use words, right? Yeah. We are going to live our faith, and people are going to question it. And that's when we can talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, just listening, though, is actually an act of love, because there are a lot of people that as soon as someone goes to have a conversation and tell what's going on in their life, there's people that want to tell them what to do to fix the problem. There are people that want to berate them for what they're doing wrong. There's people that want to shut them down. So the gift of listening is an act of love, to be able to have a place that people find, hey, you know what? You're struggling. You're having a bad day. Go find Papstio. Just share with him. And he's not going to tell you what to do. He's not going to solve everything. He's not going to give make you feel bad for what's going on in life. He's going to listen, and he's going to offer prayer for you. Do you pray on stream, or do you just say, I'll be praying for you?
I have prayed on stream if people want.
Yeah. And some people don't want it. They want to know you're praying, but they don't want to always hear it. Some people do want to hear it. I get both options in mind, where people will DM me stuff, or they'll ask for it when they're there. With the do you have a redeem for prayer in your channel? I don't think I've ever looked for it.
I don't.
Okay.
Yet.
Well, you don't have to. It's
right. It is something that I've thought of putting in there. And just because somebody may not want to just type in chat, hey, can you pray for me, right? If you have a prayer redeemed, then they go, oh, okay, this person's willing to pray.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the reason I have it. Not that people wouldn't expect that anyway, but it's that simple way to say, yes, that's acceptable here. I'm not here to do my agenda of read the Bible. I'm here for community as the most important priority within what we're doing. And so, yeah, there's plenty of days I don't get to all the reading I plan.
Yeah. And so thinking about that and how I can be a Christian content creator, I went through the taco class. I went through the EDM class.
Yep.
I was trying to figure out where I fit in, and I had noticed that Reach opened up their creator submissions. And I had talked to Romans, and I had asked him straight up, I'm like, I know Reach is a Christian community of content creators, but is there room for creators who don't create Christian content? And he's like, well, first and foremost, we are content creators who are Christian.
Yeah.
Whether you're creating Christian content or not.
Right.
And I said, okay, that's what I need to know. Because I think there needs to be a space for people to come to, kind of like the family-friendly category.
Yes. Yes.
Where you can come in and know that this person isn't going to, berate you for what you've done wrong, but you don't have to go to a pastor.
Yeah.
And when you're ready, after being in the community, after finding out a little bit more, this person can refer you to the next step. And so that's kind of where I am now, where I'm like, yes, I'm going to announce that I'm Christian, but that's pretty much all you're going to hear from me unless you ask.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I know I'm watching you people has that same approach.
Yeah. And I think that's really valuable. And at Reach Conference and other places, Nerd Culture Ministry Summit. Oh, I got a raid coming on. I'll come back to this thought. You know what? I need to really create a scene for raid to come in. I have to figure out how to rearrange that with the guest and put something else on.
2025 just followed.
Thank you for the follow.
Thanks for following.
Night Saber, so good to see you, brother. Love having you come in. Thank you for raiding. Rebel Games 2025, welcome in. Let me see, who was the follow that came in? Was that Rebel Games? Yeah, Rebel Games. Thank you for the follow. Night Saber with the raid. Anyone else coming in? What's cooking, both of y'all? Look at these fine, handsome men. Well, I'll take that compliment any day. Thank you. Thank you. So
thank you, Night Saber.
Yes. Those that do not know, that just came in with the raid, you don't know my channel, perhaps. I am Flat Cap Dapper Pastor. I am a pastor. I've been in ministry for over 25 years. I'm not currently serving at a church. I work with theChurch.digital. We are a digital missionary sending agency. I do some pulpit supply. I do reading in the Bible on stream. And I have a podcast. And you're joining us on the podcast here on the Church Digital channel, where we are talking about people that are doing they are a Christian intentionally in a space where it can be pretty toxic. And so we're talking with Papstio on this episode. Papstio, you just want to give a quick intro of yourself, get all of those who are joining a chance to get caught up.
Sure. So I'm Papstio. I go by many names in the community: Pap, Paps, Despapsito. A lot of times it's now Papacito.
I like the Papacito. I have to say, I do like that.
But I am a Christian, husband, father, and rhythm gamer. I started streaming to help other streamers. and I continue streaming to use the tools that help other streamers. So
Yeah. I was just thinking here because I've been doing this a little bit for some people. Not that you can't go YouTube this already and find people that are using tools and learn on it, but I've just been starting to curate some how-to videos on things from not the expert level of things, but from you're learning from a novice who's a couple of steps ahead of you, so you don't feel overwhelmed. How do I help you not feel overwhelmed at things so you at least can enter the conversation and feel like, okay, I'm not an idiot. So that's my approach of what I'm trying to do with creating some things. But have you thought about creating an intentional section of how to help streamers do things better? And like I said, I already know 3 or 4 that I watch. But if you were doing that as well, it would be fun to watch you.
So I'm sure you know, video editing takes a lot of time.
Oh, yeah, it does.
I don't have any time. I stream for an hour
Yep.
because that is the block of time in my day that I have to myself.
Okay.
And so, yes, I have thought about making that content. I just know that right now, I don't have that kind of time.
Mm-hmm. Fair. That's fair. And I have started utilizing AI to help me with my video editing, as I have chosen to be more intentional with my stream, so that I have not just, hey, here's the stream, go watch it if you want to, which nobody does, and modify it down into segments where people would spend the time to watch it. At least I hope they begin to. So I've been doing a whole bunch of that, and at times frustrated with how long it does still take, even with AI assistance in doing some stuff. It can take up a tremendous amount of time. Yeah. So while you were, doing DDR for the first hour you were on, I was editing videos for that entire hour, so that I have my videos, my VODs going up tomorrow of the Bible reading from yesterday. So it's it's that kind of a, yep, I've got to stay on top of this. There, like, I'll get behind then I'll throw in the towel and give up.
And then a pro tip for streamers: if you don't build in that time to your schedule, then you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, because you're going to be editing your stuff, in the wee hours.
Oh, and that's one of those things that I don't say I learned this early on. I got kind of forced into this early on in ministry of setting really, really good boundaries, because my wife demanded that of me. And there were a couple of ones that early on in ministry, it was, when I go to bed, you're going to bed too. Yeah, I don't get to stay up and study for 3 and 4 and 5 hours of homework. So she's like, I don't care how early you get up in the morning. I don't care if you come to bed for 2 and 3 hours and get up. We go to bed at the same time. Okay. So we went to bed at the same time. And yeah, I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to study Greek for 4 hours before class, because I needed those 4 hours to study Greek to get a C in the class. So this is why you'll notice, if you come to my channel, I spend a whole lot of time on Hebrew and not as much on the Greek, because it's still really difficult for me. But that was one. And the other was, I had Mondays off always. No classes on Mondays. And part of that was because a lot of the professors would travel for the weekend, go do preaching or teaching. They might do a conference at a church, so they'd travel, and so they'd be at the church on Sunday. They wouldn't be back in time to do a class on Monday. So no classes on Monday. So she's like, on Saturday and Sunday, I'm home. So on Saturday and Sunday is family time. You are not doing homework. So it was like forced upon me, but it was so brilliant in the fact that I don't have this urge, like, at the end of the day, I could go work for 5 more hours. I got to grind it out and I got to do it. It's like, no, my day's done. It'll be there tomorrow. I will start on it tomorrow and I will go do it. Now, there's times I get frustrated that I don't get as much done as I want, but I don't have that drive to work myself past my capacity because like I said, early on, I got that pattern of how do you do things? How do you set boundaries? How do you uphold them? How do you protect sacred space? How do you protect family space? And finding that, and I like to use the word harmony. So my wife is part of my life. All that I do has to be in harmony with the time I get to spend with her. My kids are part of my life. They have to be in harmony. If I am out of disharmony, I'm out of a imbalance in relationship. So everything has to be a benefit to everything else in my life.
Right. It's not just work-life balance. It's like you said, it's a harmony.
Yeah, I've really been playing with that harmony probably for about a year and a half now. I really like the language of it better because, and this is maybe my bias, but you're going to be lurking, Night Saber. Thank you. Love you all too. If I think balance, my brain goes, if I give my work 40 hours, I got to give my family 40 hours. If work steals 10 hours, I'm out of balance. But that's not how things equate all the time. Or my wife was pointing this out to me a couple of years ago when I was starting to do some gaming with my kids who aren't at home because, hey, we can actually play remote. So we were meeting on Sunday nights to play for like 4 hours. And I'm like, so this is taking time I normally gave to my wife. I'm giving it to my kids. And I was feeling guilty about this. And I told her, and she goes, are you kidding me? Your kids want to spend time with you? That is to my benefit that your kids, our kids, want their dad around to play video games with. It is not taking time from me. You are investing in our family still. And I was like, wow, I wasn't seeing it that way because I was caught up in the mindset of balance. And I think that's really when I started to shift and start thinking about, no, that is a piece of harmony within my ecosystem. And I'm not stealing from my wife and giving hours to my kids. I am blessing the whole family together by spending time when they're seeking time with me. So.
Yeah, that's good. And right now, you know, when I am not working or, streaming, everything I do is for my family. I have very little time to do things with my family, and there is a huge difference.
Yes, there absolutely is.
So the time that I get to spend with them is extremely valuable, especially to my wife. My kid isn't old enough to really express it, but I can tell that he appreciates the time that I spend with him. So
yeah, and kids are always that way. They don't have all. I mean, as they're growing, they'll get it. But early on, it's all they know is time with dad. Great, let's do it. And I don't think they equate any kind of balance with it. It's presence with this person that's valuable in my life. That's all they care about, and every moment is a sacred moment for them in that time of life. So,
yeah.
Not just to kind of back up, because we started here talking about one of the things early on was your wife's health. How is that still right now? Is there elements at which her health is still something that you need to keep in check with what you're doing?
So she has a lot of restrictions on what she can do. Meaning she can't lift more than 8 pounds.
Okay.
She can't bend over very easily. She can't get down on the floor and get back up. A lot of these things tug at the basically glue that they added to her lung to keep it inflated. And so there are a lot of things, like I said, I have to do for my family because she just can't.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. because going back to those Warframe days, she was doing everything. um, and it just kind of flipped once she started having health issues.
Yeah,
She doesn't even drive anymore, so
yeah.
thank you for those bits, Pico.
Yeah, that's sweet. I love when people drop biddies. They're so much fun. No matter how small they are, you could give those to anybody, and you're choosing to drop those here. That's just awesome. So I think that's a valuable thing, and I find there are a lot of people in ministry who have a family member who does have some need that is beyond their capacity to do everything for themselves, whatever it is, or they have limitations in some way. And I wonder if, and I'm not asking this as a question, I'm just wondering out loud because I like to do that. I wonder if in some ways having to care for someone more than ourselves is what opens us up to looking for everybody who might have a need and having that desire to want to serve others more, because we already have taken and decided we're not the most important person in the world because we are caring for someone beyond what they can do for themselves.
Yeah, that is a great way to look at it.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know if that's entirely true. I'm just like, because I know so many, and as you're telling the story there, it's like, I get to hear your heart for her, which I already see in the way that you approach coming into chat and the way you approach other people, in the way that, and this might seem small to some people, but it's not small to me, that when you say time to go drop the kids off, or kid, I should say, well, it's time to go. You're going into lurker mode and you're alert. Like, you don't have to say that. I'll understand. I got the rhythm of what's going on, but there's that congeniality. There's that awareness. There's the, hey, I know that I was here, but I don't want to leave without you being aware of it. Then I know you're usually listening along the way as you take off, which to me is just kind of fun to go, I'm traveling down the road as people go somewhere. It's kind of a cool thought that you think enough about me to come in the first place, and then enough about me to not just leave. So I appreciate that, and I wanted to share that with you.
Well, yeah, thanks. I find it kind of funny that, yeah, I do announce what I'm doing for lurking.
Yeah, I know, but
in a lot of channels.
Yeah. But like I said, I wanted to point that out because some people might not think about it. There are people who, like, all they know, and I hope someday that this podcast is really a place that people find it and they go to their home church and say, God's been calling me to something. Here are a bunch of people that are doing it. And the more people I can have on the podcast, the longer that list of, here are people that are doing it. I'm not alone, pastor. I'm not alone, elder deacon. I'm not alone, mom, and feeling called to do this. But every different person brings some aspect of themselves to this. And if all you know is the church goes online in the service and they don't know community, you're demonstrating by that little piece that we are actually in community. When you say, I'm leaving now, I'm lurking. And we had several people who came in with the raid who did the same thing. I didn't acknowledge them all as it happened, but it was, hey, I'm lurking now. I'm still listening. I'm going to be doing this, or I've got to go. Those are all things. If someone's in my house, they generally say goodbye when they leave. They don't just walk out of my house, without saying something. They might come home without saying something, depending upon what time of day it is or night or those kinds of things. But you don't generally leave a house unless you're leaving early in the morning and people are asleep. You usually say something to the people that are there, because all of a sudden they'll go, where did they go? And you don't want to leave people with anxiety or wonder. So I love how you've adapted that into your persona of being in community, that a lot of people don't realize you can bring all of yourself into a digital space. and you can care for people in a digital space. And even little things like that are a valuable thing.
Yeah, it's something, being, just because you are in a digital space doesn't mean you are a different person, right? And I like to handle my digital spaces the same way I would if I were just there with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's interesting earlier that you said that, the way I interact in chat and everything, we have developed a way to, I guess, have non-verbal communication actually mean something.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, and this goes to the longevity of you being in my stream, is you type something and it may not be a full expression of a sentence or everything, and I know exactly what you're implying or you're responding to. Like, some people will respond in chat and I'm like, what are you talking about? What did I say? And what happened? And what did I forget? And what, like, I don't think I ever read your messages and go, oh, that's what you meant, or explain that further. It's like, your messages are spot on. We know each other in that realm, and you can know what I need to hear, or all the little bit that you need to say. I was like, oh yeah, I know what you're thinking, Papstio. Yeah, or you're just laughing at me, when I'm doing voices, or I'm, messing up a song that everybody loves, and now they're going to have that stuck in their head, and it's going to ruin their life. Because I ruin songs for so many people. My kids can tell you about that. I'll just share one. I don't think I've shared this one on stream because it's not a Christian song. Aerosmith song, Train Kept a Rolling All Night Long. I always sang, and this makes absolutely no sense, drank pepperoni all night long. Drank pepperoni all night long. My daughter was in college before she realized that was not the words to the song, because she didn't know what they really were. She knew I was not correct, but she could not hear him actually say anything except what I said. And so it was so funny when she came home from college and was like, okay, you ruined that song, Dad. I know. It's been ruined for, 15 years for you, because you heard it as a little kid and you didn't know it wasn't the real words. I don't know if she did this. She didn't admit this to me. I don't know if she was singing the wrong words and singing drank pepperoni and had her friends correct her. That's how I'm imagining it. I'm imagining that that's right. What happened. She got totally embarrassed by singing the wrong words. She probably didn't intend to sing the wrong words, but they probably just came out of her mouth, and it caused a scene and embarrassed her. And I got to hear the aftermath. So Dad has achieved greatness in that way with his daughter. Check mark the box.
Congratulations, you've ruined it for another person, because that is one of my favorite songs to play in Rock Band. And now I will never hear it the other way. That's
what I said. I ruin songs for people by that, which I have mentioned before on my stream many times, and also in this podcast probably, that that's one of my oldest memories, is getting kicked out of Sunday school for changing the words to songs. So yep. I've been doing it for all of my life. It's just, my creative mind does not stop. So if you don't want me to change the words, you need to have a 10-10 beat, because I can't change the words to songs that are that fast. So,
yep.
Yeah, we get the dancing emotes in there. There we go, Lucis.
But yeah, and your love of words, I'll say,
yes,
has rubbed off. I look up, I go to Blue Letter Bible now. I read the original text and try and figure out if maybe the translation wasn't exactly what they said it was.
Well, one of the problems at times is that there was no English word when they were translating from and some of the earliest translations were using Latin, because that's what they had inherited. They didn't have the Greek to go back to or the Hebrew necessarily all the time, but they were trying to carry the word over and create English for places where there simply was no word. And so not only did they not have a word, that word was created several hundred years ago out of nothing with no background. So we don't have anything to rely on other than we think this is what it means. They were trying to, so there's those kinds of pieces. And I love that you go to Blue Letter. Not that because Blue Letter is the best. I use Blue Letter on my stream because it's free. And it's a good place to start. When you grow beyond that, then there are other people who do streaming now who use Logos Bible software, and they can go much more depth. I used it for years. When I do streaming, I want everyone to be able to say, I can go do that myself. So that's why I do not use it. That's one reason I've been using the Net Bible, is it's got the footnotes in there that will clue us into some stuff that's going on in the text, and then go to Blue Letter specifically to look up words, because I find words fun. So,
which is why I like reading the Bible through with you, because you actually go look up the word and the names, of course. They are just hilarious.
Oh my goodness, yes. The number of, oh my god, like, you need to go watch VODs that when I go off on a name, and half the time it's, this sounds like it'd be a really good metal band name. What's it really mean? And is that going to be a good name or not? And what was one of the man, I went off on this one. I wish I could remember it off the top of my head. I won't remember it. It's not coming to me, but just making fun of, mom yelling out the door that it's time to come home for dinner. And it's like, oh my goodness, it gets hilarious at times when I do that. So, I think JL, if I remember, no, that's the wrong one. I'm thinking of someone else. Anyway, yeah, Sunshine, we'll have to go look that up. It's one of the names I wish it would stick in my brain. Some do, and some I'll go, oh yeah, I want to remember that, and then I forget that's it. But a couple of names that I love are the sons of Naomi, who says, don't call me Naomi, which means pleasant, call me Mara, which means bitter, but her sons' names are sickly and frail. So her sons are sickly and frail. Spoiler alert. So turn it off now if you don't want to know what happens in the story of Ruth. Sickly and frail die, my friends. Sickly and frail die. I know, spoiler alert, but sickly and frail die. So to me, there's just so much beauty in looking up the value of people's names. Like, you get bored with genealogy, just look up every name in the genealogy. As I'm trying to do this year, read through the Bible all the way through and do all of that, I'm not doing as many names as I normally do, looking up in the genealogies, but I love looking up about every third name when I go through the genealogies when I'm doing it myself. So.
Oh yeah. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah. So I know we've talked about some family things outside of stream that have been some things that you've had to overcome. We've talked about also overcoming, hey, I'm spending too much time on stream over here and having to do that. Have you had some on stream difficulties that you've had to deal with as you've been a streamer?
You mean besides all the tech difficulties?
Well, if you want to include tech difficulties, I mean, you painted yourself as the tech expert, so I figured you had no difficulties, whatever.
All right. As I always say, if you're not having tech issues, are you really streaming?
I know. I love when people put that in the chat whenever I'm having tech issues. It makes me feel better. It's like, oh, yes, I know, but I don't want them,
Right. I've had a lot of streaming difficulties, mostly due to time, because anybody who has had tech difficulties while streaming knows that you lose time, right?
Yes.
You have to stop, you have to deal with it. Sometimes you have to stop stream and restart it.
Oh, yeah.
and that causes all kinds of issues. But when you only stream for an hour, any tech difficulty basically cancels stream.
Yes. Yes.
So I had a lot of those days where I'm like, sorry guys, this is going to take too long to fix, so I will see you tomorrow, right? Like, but also, um, while I haven't had a lot of trolls, a lot of people who come in specifically to make mischief, I have had a lot of people who come in who want to talk about really heavy subjects. And when you're in the middle of a dancing stream or a rock band stream, a heavy subject is hard to talk about at that point.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've attracted a lot of people who have difficulties in their life. They're struggling with something and they want to vent. And I don't want to say I don't have time, right? Because that's the whole point of being here is I want to connect with people. And so I will, put my Discord link in chat or say, message me on Discord. If you don't have Discord, whisper me on Twitch. I want to come back to this and, hear what you have to say. But I only have an hour on stream and I don't have the time that I want to give you to fully state what you're saying. And so that has kind of been my biggest barrier to stream is time. And I want to create community, but if I don't have time to put in to really listen to somebody, really talk to people, then it gets really difficult.
Yeah, I can feel that. There are some people that, like they'll come in at the end, towards the end of my stream, and it's like I don't have time. I'm on the way out. Like I know what you deserve, and I cannot give you what you deserve, and you're looking for that right now, and there's that burden that I can't be what you need right now, which in some ways is the beauty of being able to raid out and being able to raid to another Christian community, that we can say, you're not going to be abandoned. We're going to pass you on. But when it's the first or second time or an inconsistent person, you just really don't know if that's going to be enough to move them to another space and drop them off, so to speak. And I also don't want to, and I know you don't either, of, well, I don't have to deal with it. Wash my hands and walk away, because you walk away with the, I hope that they are right where they need to be. And I don't know if they are, and when will I hear about it, and how do you, with not being a full-time streamer, and most of us aren't, but not being intended to be full-time, how do you have time to deal with the stuff in your Discord then? Is that an easier process for you to respond in Discord and do that outside of stream so that you can maintain those relationships?
Yeah, so a lot of the people that I mod their Discord know that is where I am all the time, right?
Yeah.
I've stopped bots that have posted inappropriate content because I get pings on my phone and I can instantly go in and ban them, right?
Yeah.
So Discord is always up. It's always open for me. And so that is where, if somebody wants to have a quick conversation, I'm pretty much always available.
Yep. Yeah.
And so while I would love to build my Discord community, it's actually very difficult to get people into Discord. If you don't have some kind of event, regular notification, something that you're doing in Discord, people don't want to just join a dormant Discord.
Right. Yeah. And I'm in so many Discords that my original one that was mine, where I was active in some ways to begin with, has become dormant as I spend more time in other places and engaging people in those places. Like, I don't have bandwidth to try to generate activity in my own channel and my own Discord. It's more of a curation at this point of curating relationships where you can come in and know where I am. I can post things that are upcoming, and or I can post other things. And there's a few people trying to make it active and go in there. And I appreciate that. But they're also in all the other communities I'm in too. So it's I don't need to, on some level, spend a lot of time there. And then for the other part, it's not just about a dormant community. I want to join the groups of people together where I'm going to run into more people than individual streamers community. So I'm not in a lot of individual streamer Discords anymore. I've just gone to, I can't do all of them. I have too many friends and
It's a terrible problem.
It's a terrible problem. I have too many friends, and they haven't got to be on the podcast yet. So, if I was in every Discord server of people that have been up in the podcast, by the end of this year, I would be at the limit for the number of Discord servers I could be in. It just, and obviously I'm not reading, messages in 100 Discord servers every day. That's not going to, that I wouldn't be able to do anything else. Honestly, that would take all my day to be able to do that. So, that is one of those real things at times is that, but if they know they can go there in the moment and have you respond to them, that's probably just as valuable as an active one where they get overlooked when they say something and no one responds to them. Or they're trying to reach you and they don't get to that person.
It's true. Yeah, it's small, and I prefer small communities. I'm a part of a lot of large communities, but it's nice to be heard and nice to be able to contact, the group leaders.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, have there been any other thing that has been a barrier as a streamer within so we've got tech issues and we've got limitations on time. Have there been other things that you've faced as you've gone through, like maybe things of feeling discouraged or other things that you've had to overcome as you've been a streamer?
So, kind of like I had mentioned before, because I stream as a hobby.
Right.
I don't get those normal discouragements, where there's nobody coming in or nobody talking. But I do get discouraged sometimes if I'm not feeling like I'm producing good content, right? Like if I am having an off day, I notice and I'm like, should I even really be here today? I'm not bringing my best self. And people are probably going to notice, and then they're going to say something, and then I have to talk about my day, and I don't want to talk about my day. I want to hear about your day.
You say that, but that was actually one of the things that attracted me early on to Twitch. It was easy to see for a number of people that I was watching when they were having a bad day, and the chat would be persistent until they told us what was going on with their day, and we got to embrace and love them. And that was like, wow. I mean, just like you're always smiling and laughing. Like, I would know you're having a bad day if you're not smiling and laughing, even in the chat. Because if you're not smiling and laughing and pulling jokes in the chat, I know something's off, so there's so it carries over. But it's one of those things where I so appreciate that the chat needs you to express when you are having a bad day, and they want to know that, because they don't want to just watch a performance. Yes, they want to be engaging. Yes, they want to be entertained. Yes, they want to have a good time, but they also care about the streamer. They care about you as a person, because if I just want to watch somebody for perfection, there's a lot of other platforms I can go on. This is not the platform for that. This is a platform for building relationships with the streamer as much as it is the streamer building relationships in the community. And so I love that aspect of it. I know it doesn't always feel good. Like there have been days I don't want to go. I know I'm having a bad day. I just don't want to be here. And like, I mean, I've had that in the pulpit too, but in the pulpit, I don't get to be that honest about I'm having a bad day. I do have to put the performance on in the pulpit that everything is all right and this is good. I can let it down when I'm not in the pulpit, but when I go up front like that, it like, it's not part of what you're looking for in worship. It's not going to be accepted here in the same way. In streaming, I can show up 100% honest, and that's threatening in some ways. It is a hard thing to go, all right, I'm going to be called out today because I'm having a bad day. The other side that's fun, though, is like last Friday when I was super cheeky and having fun and goofing off. It was like everybody enjoyed it and had a great time, and it was fun. And so I get to be that, which I also don't get to be in the pulpit either. I don't get to just be goofy for the sake of I'm having one of those days, everybody. My sermon's going to be a little funny today. No, that doesn't work that way either. So,
yeah. And I often tell my chat, like, I'm coming right after work. And if work was a bad day, I'm like, I come here, I've had this kind of day. I don't always want to hit the go live button, but for some reason, when I start dancing, my day is just fine.
I love that.
I didn't have a bad day.
Yeah.
I had a bad few moments, right?
Right. Yeah, if you got to dance today, how could it be a bad day? Really? I mean, there we go. Just dance the blues away, dance the troubles away, whatever you want to say. You can absolutely do that.
Right. And Lucis reminded me that I ask people, first time chatters, I'm like, oh, how'd you find the stream? Are you a fan of DDR? And Lucis responded, I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of Papstio.
I'm a fan of Papstio.
I didn't know I had fans.
There you go. How did you find me? Because you're everywhere. You're in this channel and that channel and the other one. And I'm like, I want to see the great Papstio perform and hear that great laugh of his. So, how about we switch and move in the positive direction? What have been some blessings that you've experienced personally, and then what are some blessings that you've witnessed as being a streamer or even being a mod? You can go either way, because I know you do a lot of modding.
I would have to say one of my biggest blessings, well, I guess I'll transition between two. So a while during November, I always do Movember, right? I shave my beard, let it grow over the month. I do fundraising. One year, right at the end, someone came in, they donated. And, I figured, oh, they came in, saw the fundraiser, donated, they'll probably not come back. Well, they did come back. Every stream, started requesting, and I'm like, okay, so now I have like my first real regular.
There you go.
She actually became my mod after a while. My only mod so far. And she was around. She helped me with all my tech issues and refined my set list and everything.
Very
She
cool.
is currently dealing with life. So she's not around anymore, but um, kind of as she faded out, watching, I'm watching you people,
Mm-hmm.
you came in, and we always talk about, champions. Like you're going to have somebody who really gets what you're doing. They want to be on board, you know. And right now for me, that is I'm watching you people. She has definitely been there. She grabs the first every stream, which is hilarious.
Oh, there you go.
And it's been an actual blessing because obviously she is in several communities. She has a lot of people that she could be watching, and she chooses to come and interact on my stream. I do mod for her as well, but welcome in, Zaladin. Um, the it has been so nice to have somebody like that again, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right.
uh,
She is in a lot of places. She's been a mod for me for quite some time, and she is always so generous with approaching things of can have you thought about this, with suggestions of trying to help, to work on engagement and all. Like, she has so many ideas and I love them, but it's like I can't do all of these. I don't have bandwidth to work on some of these things. Like, some of them I know are really good and I really need to do some of the things that she suggests because they're going to be beneficial. They would pay off. And it's just, no, sometimes when I get off stream, I have a whole list of other things. I can't I'm trying to, and I stole this from Jate Live, which I haven't had him on the podcast. Eventually I will. I want to get 1% better every day. I'm not trying to get 50% better by next week. I can't do that. And some of her suggestions are moving in that direction of this would make it 50% better. I know that would be 50% better. By December, maybe I can get to all of that stuff so that I would be 50% better than I was a year ago. But I just got to strive for that 1% at a time. That's all I can do is just, I want constant improvement so I can get there. And sometimes there's just too many leaps to get to the things that are, but that's who she is. She is everywhere, online, in the Twitch space, in so many communities. This is where I was 5 years ago before I started streaming. I was everywhere. I was exploring. I was, I'm going to find everybody doing every kind of thing that's not gaming, and I'm going to go explore all of those because the gaming part was 90%. I can't go everywhere, so I'll just take the 10% that's not gaming and figure that out. And it's like, it just keeps growing. So, yeah, right. She is going to be the one, and I need to get her on the podcast too, which, by the way, Lucis, I didn't tell you this. I'm going to talk to her about the two of you being on the podcast together. So remind me this week to DM you about that so that when we get that firmed up. Yeah, I know. I didn't tell you. But I don't want you to have to be alone on the podcast. So I figured the two of you together on the podcast would be gold. So we'll figure that out. Yeah. Wouldn't you? Yeah, that'd just be gold. So anyway, yeah, I love that aspect. And you didn't say it this way, but I think in some ways it's what you were saying. Yeah, that would be chaos. True. So it might be the longest podcast I will ever do is what you're saying there. No, it'll be great. So to go back to what I was trying to say, relationships have been a blessing. People in your life have been a blessing that you didn't know that this person was going to be a blessing. That first person that came in, you were saying, yeah, they gave a gift, but it wasn't the gift that was the blessing. It was their continuous presence of you were bringing something of value that they needed in their life at that time. Now they're in a season where they can't be in that same thing. And I've tried to get some people on the podcast that were that way, that aren't around anymore. That's like, I just want to celebrate what you meant to me and what you still mean to me, and what is the ongoing impact of that time that we spent, even if you're not currently able to. So totally get that, vibing with that aspect. That's not the way you were saying it, but that was another aspect of it that I think is absolutely true of what people can mean to us as the streamer when they're just in the community with us.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing, so earlier today while I was dancing, a lot of people came in and they started, greeting each other.
Yes.
Which is exactly what I wanted for my space, right?
Yes.
I want a community to where people feel like, oh, I know this person. Even if it's from another community. Like, I like the fact that on Twitch, we can go around to different streamers and still see the same people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what would be a good analogy of that for people to grasp and understand, because it's certainly not church. Because you don't show up to the same thing with the same people. Maybe the only exception, and if you don't go to Lenten lunches, you don't celebrate Lent, you're not going to get this. But in any community that I've been at, when there would be community gathered events together, like one church would host, another pastor would preach as you would go through the Lenten lunches, there really was the same, core group that went to all of them. And then there'd be the people, if it was at your church, would show up, but they wouldn't go to any others. Yeah. And there was but that core group that went to all of them is kind of that, like, oh, I know who I'm going to see at the Lenten lunches. I know that they're going to be there. I know who those faces are going to be. Like, actually, I need to go check the schedule out. It starts next week. I need to find out what the schedule is, so I can go show up and see those faces again. It's one of those things, not serving in a church in the local community, that I miss some of those things. But yeah, I know who the locals are. I know who will show up when their pastor speaks, and I know who will show up when the church hosts. But the rest of them are the core people that are going to be there all 6 weeks of the Lenten lunches, and they're going to be there. So that's the closest I can think of ministry where you're going to see the same people crossing, or at a conference where you see the same faces year in and year out at the same conference that you go to. That'd be the only.
So my wife is Catholic. Of course, a lot of the Catholic churches have become parish families now.
Yes.
And so, it's not that your church has mass at this time. It's this time at this church, and this. So it's actually been kind of interesting because we don't always get to the same church every week.
Yes.
But we still see a lot of the same people at every mass because they're part of our parish family. Mm-hmm. And, so we've been at other churches and still go, oh, you came to this mass.
Yeah. That's a great thing to be able to have that. You don't usually have that with, and I've teased this out. Like, I want this to happen sometime in my lifetime of the, so one church is having the 6 o'clock Easter sunrise service that rolls over into the 7 o'clock service at the next church. It rolls over into the 8 o'clock service. And I get to go from 6 a.m. until noon to 6 different churches, all in my community. And we all go from one church to the, and nobody's going to say yes to this. So I put it out, but I want it so bad. I want to take the raid experience to the church, and we go raid from church to church. And we bring the love from what we just celebrated. We just had communion, and we had Eucharist, and we had, and roll that to, nobody's going to do that, but it's a dream of mine. So somebody tell me when you're doing it and I'll show up. So
It's like like the bar racing, the bar 5Ks. You just go from bar to bar
Oh,
with the same group of people.
yeah. Pub
It's just
crawls
church,
and that
church to
stuff.
church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a pub crawl in my community that will go from bar to bar to bar, or we have cookie walk where you go from restaurant to get a cookie at each one. Like
Yep.
that's the closest that we have is things like that. But I want the church to figure this out. I mean, come on. If I keep talking about it for the next 10 years, somebody's going to do it. And when you do, invite me. That's all I ask.
All right, everybody, our sermon is over here, but we're going to be rating.
Yes, we're going to be raiding over. When the sermon is done, everybody get in your vehicles and go over to the community over here. The praise team is already going to be started when you get in there, so just pile in and come on. Yeah, church crawl. There we go. Mel has coined the term church crawl. There we go.
All right. The idea is planted.
The idea is planted.
Got to get a bunch of churches on it.
Yeah. Now, honestly, I don't know that could happen or ever will, but I do love the idea of what if we could do that globally in Twitch with worship services on an Easter. That's a more realistic thing where we could go starting in Easter. That's going to happen in New Zealand before we even have. So they do a service there and they raid out to Australia, that raids out to the Philippines, that raids out to Singapore, that raids out to Pakistan, that raids out to India. I mean, like that just blows my mind that we could do that. So we need to start working on that one because that one can actually happen. But then there's the problem of if I help make it happen, I'd have to watch all of it. And that would be a long, long day because it would be a long day.
Time zones.
Yeah. Yes. So you could actually have 2 or 3 in a time zone as you're going because you'll need that gap and barrier a couple of those time zones. So it'd be more than 24-hour stream to get all the way around the globe and to get to the West Coast and to get to Hawaii to, and Alaska to end the celebration of Easter. But boy, wouldn't that be a fun day.
Yeah. Online possible. In real life, we might get there.
Yeah. In real life, I'm only looking for 6 churches to do this, Online, I want the global, everybody's going to do that. And yeah, various churches in your town gather, worship with Mark. Yeah, I've done those things as well. But I don't want it to just be we gather in one place. I want to celebrate in your church your way and go to the next church and go their way and experience going to a Catholic, going to an Episcopal, going to a Baptist, going to a Lutheran. And I know half people don't want to do all of that, but I think it would be an honoring way to Christ to be able to participate in the way that you want to celebrate and worship. But, I guess I'm one of those weird people. Oh, wait. Yes, I am. So have there been, that's a way that, and maybe there's another way that you have experienced a blessing in your life. Have there been other ways on stream that you've done that or you've felt that?
I would say particularly in the modding space. So when I started Twitch, like I had said, I didn't find a lot of people being openly Christian.
Yeah.
It is funny how that eventually comes out. But I was in the music community. One of my favorite Twitch artists is Reina Mystique. She has several songs in my playlist that I play on my stream. I have 2 of her songs already on my DDR list, and I'm doing a 3rd one. Hey, Ziggy. Ziggy's a mod for Reina.
Oh, okay.
It was interesting to see her go from just music streamer to Christian music streamer. Well, Christian streamer, actually, because before she had to take a break, she was actually doing Bible reading on stream. So like the transition there, and she had a few influences already in stream, um, but I don't know if that really helped. I don't know how many, like, there weren't very many open Christians. There were definitely open non-Christians because when she made her transition, people in her community were outraged,
Uh-huh.
like to the point of, you know, I will never talk to you again if this is the way you're gonna do your stream or things like that. Like,
Yeah.
um,
And it seems like, I don't know how long ago this was, but it seems like this last year in different platforms and then different public people have suddenly shared that they are a Christian after they have built a community. And it is interesting how some will instantly have that, well, I'm out of here, peace out, but they're not really friendly about it. They're I was going to pick on a generation. I'm not going to go there. But some way, some people are hostile when they leave a party and let everybody know that I'm leaving the party. And they gather people on the way out as they leave the party. And instead of just quietly just saying, oh, it's not for me, I'll go away. No. They make themselves a nuisance on the way out and gather a posse to leave with them. There's those kinds of people.
Are we talking about the Bible now? I mean, the angels in the
No, I was thinking of a different group of people that I won't mention. I'm not going to throw them under the bus. But if you are that people and you're feeling guilty, then you know who I'm talking about. I'll just put it that way. But I've seen that happen in churches. Is one of the things is they're upset about something that's happening. So this isn't about Christian, non-Christian. There are people who that's just the way they are. They get upset about something. They rally as many people who are upset about it, who might not be upset. But as soon as you point out they should be upset, they decide they are and go with you because it's easier to go with them than to resist that. So she's had a struggle there. So what has that been for you observing that then?
And so from my end, it was I guess, encouragement to, be like, oh, this is something you're exploring. Well, I can tell you, I've been in these communities. There are people who are going to accept and people who are not.
Yep.
And, this is a choice that you have to make. You're the streamer.
Right.
It is your community. And if you're wanting to take it in that direction and the people can follow you, it's just me being there as a Christian voice, I guess.
Right. So
saying you can't be any less Christian than you feel. And it's going to come out. And if you just want to suppress it for stream, it's not going to last very long. You're not going to be your true self.
Yeah. And
right.
There's, what a joy to be able to be there, to speak into her as she's walking through that, to be able to give courage, to be able to, like we already were talking about, be a sounding board, I'm frustrated. I'm struggling. These are the things going on, and just be able to, tell me all about what's going on. And then I can give you encouragement about, you're right. And, oh, I understand. And, I've been there and stick with it. If this is where you're leading. Yeah. Like, don't hide it. Maybe you weren't trying initially to hide it. You just weren't on the surface with it. But now that you've put it to the surface, now you'd be burying it under a rug. You'd be putting it under a bushel.
And right. And it's just been amazing to see because, even her husband, who was dead set against converting is now also going to church with her and everything. It's been a wonderful transition to watch.
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't think that I've watched her. I think I've heard of her and I know of her. So yeah, definitely that, you know, there are people that are going to be upset with a streamer changes directions of what they're doing, or they're just going to not hang around. Like, and it doesn't even have to be coming out with faith. We already talked about how you switched games that you were playing. There are people who are going to be upset when you switch games. There are people that like, oh, this is the only game I'm doing. So as soon as you change, so there's lots of reasons that people will leave community. Some are because of what you choose to do as a streamer. Some are because of what's happening in life for them. So there's those varieties of things. But if you're chasing pleasing everybody in your stream, you're going to end up not pleasing anybody in your stream.
Yep. And that's pretty much even outside of streaming, everywhere. If you're going to try and please everyone, you're not going to please anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Abraham Lincoln had some quote about that of you know, if you try to please all the people all the time, you won't
Right.
and I don't remember how it goes, but I think he, you know.
You'll end up pleasing none of the people all the time.
Yeah, it's something like that, you know. Yeah. One of the books on my shelf back there was Lincoln on Leadership, and had a bunch of those different quotes and things and stuff that he learned. And I love books like that, by the way, that are like a page to 3 pages chapters, and then you're on to the next chapter. Those are fun books. Like, they're just like another one of those, just to throw it out here because I brought it up. Victory Secrets of Attila the Hun. Like, that is a fantastic book. I love that book. Victory Secrets of Attila the Hun. I think it's like, you know, just like a 3-page chapter. Like, he learned this and he did this and boom, here's the lesson. Next chapter. Like, yes, I could, like, it just like made a lot of sense to me.
Sweet.
Short and sweet. I read something, boom, I learned one thing. I could put the book down, pick it up tomorrow, read and learn something else. And or you can just, it's like binge watching a bunch of episodes of things, you know. So it's fun to learn from others. It's also fun to be able to be there and encouragement for other people when they're walking through that. And I love how you said, yeah, I got to be a mod, and you learn from being a mod as well as from being a streamer, because you absolutely are in the community as a mod, just the same way you are in the community if you're the streamer. I love hearing stories of blessings that people have experienced. I do want to shift, and I know I want to be respectful of your time. You normally stream 3 hours, and you're going to end. So I'm just leading to wrapping it up here. We won't try to go long today. What does it look like for you the rest of the year? What are some things you're looking forward to in your life or as a streamer that you're trying to work towards, or you're trying to plan for something new to bring into your community, or like I said, also in life? So what are some things you're looking forward to this year that are going to be exciting moments for you?
Yeah. So in life, I am trying to plan to see my family. I used to go to my family reunion every year. When I had my kid and my wife started having her complications, we were no longer able to travel to Texas. And so I haven't seen them, I guess it's seven years now.
Okay.
And so I really want to plan a trip to get out there and see them. I also am trying to get to Reach, which is slightly harder because my kid will be in school.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've mentioned before, my wife needs a lot of help. And so if I go off, she needs somebody there to help her out. But those are the 2 goals in life that I have for this year.
Okay.
For stream, I have actually started, one of the things I wanted to do when I first started streaming again, when I stopped streaming Warframe and started dancing,
Mm-hmm.
was to get Twitch artists into my DDR list.
Okay.
I have 2 songs so far, but I built a branding kit that I plan on sending to some of the other artists that I got into their community. You can't see it on this, but uh, I have about 4 or 5 Twitch artists who I want to send out this branding kit to and say, hey, would you be willing to let me use your song in my stream?
Yeah.
And then I don't have to mute the VOD.
Right. Right. So how does I'm just curious on that. So you talked about what you're using earlier. I don't remember the name of it. Is that convert any song into DDR? Is that why you use it?
Right. So it doesn't. It's
okay.
A wrapper for a program for a set of rules called Stepmania.
Okay.
And so you can create files that basically tell the program, hey, these are the steps for the song.
Okay. Okay.
What I found was a step generator from like 12 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
but it's been working.
Yeah.
And so it's now become I can actually do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, now I just got to reach out to these artists and get some more songs. But yeah, that, and then I want to look into the Christian content license, the license that Ukulele uses for her stream, to see if that license would be fine to use for the same thing. Like, generate steps and play their music on stream. I don't know whether or not there's any caveats to say like, oh, all you can do is reproduce this music, or you can cover this music, or
yeah, I do know that you cannot modify anything. Right. So for instance, churches will want to take a song, change a couple of words to it. You can't. 100% you cannot change words to it. But I know that, for instance, because I've dealt with the licensure, like Ukulele has CCLI. There is one that allows you to use it in your church. There is another one that allows you to use it on a broadcast. But those aren't designed for individuals. So Ukulele had hers because she was using it for church. So I don't know enough to say you can or can't, but you're adding another step to it that they may not care about. But the VOD is an issue as well. So that would be another thing that you would need to explore and find out about. But I don't know enough to say yes or no on what they do. But I love the aspect of let's bring in artists who are creating their own stuff and let's put them into the space. Do you know Slife?
I know of Slife.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, he is working with new artists in some stuff. So if he might be a person to connect with around new artists. They're not all Twitch streamers, but they're new artists and stuff. So he might be able to give you some advice and stuff in regards to that as well. He's in the music industry and some stuff. So there's I love making connections with people. So there's another place to go. There might be another expansion of what you were thinking that could go beyond that. So maybe you can't get the Christian license stuff. And frankly, I'm frustrated on some level that the Christian industry has created more of a problem with licensure and usage than the secular community has. But we're not going to tackle that, and we're not going to solve that problem. So that's cool. I'm excited for you. That sounds really fun.
So that is the future.
Yeah, super cool. Any last things that you want to just share with people that might be listening to this or that are here now, watching it about, you know, your journey or advice on anything to do with being a Christian intentionally in a space or streaming or anything.
Not really anything extra, just kind of a reiteration of, if you are thinking about streaming and you are not sure what your content is going to be, don't focus on being a Christian content creator. You are Christian.
Yep.
That is a part of who you are.
Yes.
All content you create will be Christian.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. If you are genuinely who you are, it's going to come out in what you're doing. Absolutely. I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
All right. I love to ask, who could we raid so we can do a double raid over to somebody and just celebrate and bring joy over to somebody else who's not going to be expecting it?
That is a good question. I was saying the other day I need to start unfollowing people because my list is too long. There are a lot of people on.
Well, I actually did hit the cap last year or the year before? I hit the cap of the number of people I could follow. I had to go through and delete people. So I actually went back through and looked at people that had no logo and realized they're not really streamers. I should quit following them. But when I first got on, it was an initial way that, hey, this person is a Christian and they followed me. I'm going to follow them. So if they stream, I'll find them later. They never did stream. So I got rid of them. So
Yeah, there are some people don't unfollow me. No, Ziggy, I need more content of you and your mom. Yes, there is a follower cap. You can only follow so many people.
I can't remember how many it is, but I hit it. So that was a fun experience to learn.
So I have not gotten a chance to raid over here.
Okay. Where are we going?
But there we go. A streamer I know who frequents I'm watching you people stream.
Okay.
There
we go. Big Bad Dirty Dog.
Doing code names at the moment.
Okay. Well, let's say our final goodbyes, and then I will count us down, and we'll hit raid, and we'll try to raid as close to the same time, or it's 5 seconds apart. It doesn't matter. So, you want to say your final goodbyes to anybody?
Well, yes, because I didn't get to do it after my dancing. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for chatting, for lurking, for doing all the things. Thank you for all the requests. As usual, I had a fun time. I hope you did too. Thank you again, Flatcap, for having me on for the first time. Rob, thanks for being here. Thank you for lurking. I always appreciate it. And I hope we get to do it again, but just not for the same reason.
Right. There we go. Well, awesome. Thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate that people want to hang out with me, that the community comes over here from my stream. There's another community that comes over from people who have been on my stream, and I love the mingling together of the stream. And thank you everybody who is listening to the VOD and makes it all the way to the end. Like, I love you. Thank you. All those who are doing that, I don't even have to tell you to like and follow. You're already doing it. I mean, I just don't even bother. I figure you know what to do. But thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I wish you the best. And we'll see you on the next one.